Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go, published in 2005, is a hauntingly understated dystopian novel that explores what it means to be human, the nature of memory, love, and mortality. Unlike typical science fiction or dystopian narratives filled with rebellion and resistance, Ishiguro's work takes a quieter, more tragic route, presenting a world where cloned children are raised to donate their organs and die young, all while being led to believe this is their natural purpose. Told through the eyes of Kathy H., a carer approaching the end of her tenure, the novel unfolds as a memoir. Through Kathy's reflective narration, we learn about her childhood at Hailsham, an idyllic but eerie boarding school, her close friends Tommy and Ruth, and the slow, devastating realization of their true fate. Ishiguro's brilliance lies in how he reveals this world through the mundane recollections of Kathy's life, rather than dramatic exposition. Themes of humanity and identity. The most profound question the novel raises is what it means to be human. Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth are clones, created for the sole purpose of organ donation. Yet they exhibit emotions, develop attachments, feel jealousy, long for love, and reflect deeply on their past, qualities that resonate with the reader's sense of humanity. Ishiguro challenges the reader to ask, if these clones feel and think as we do, why are they not considered human? Ishiguro uses subtlety and understatement to create empathy for the characters. They do not rebel, they accept their fate. Their passivity isn't a flaw, but a function of their upbringing. Hailsham has conditioned them to see donations as an inevitable duty. This cultivated docility underscores how society can strip individuals of agency under the guise of benevolence and structure. Memory and nostalgia. The novel's narrative structure mimics memory itself. Kathy recalls events in a non-linear fashion, often circling back to re-examine past episodes in greater detail. This technique creates a sense of intimacy and emotional realism. The past is not just something Kathy remembers, it defines her. The poignancy of the novel lies in her attempt to make sense of her existence by clinging to fragments of memory. Memory also becomes a form of resistance. In a world that denies the clone's full personhood, Kathy's recollections serve to assert their humanity. The tenderness of her memories, of moments shared with Tommy, her complicated friendship with Ruth, the everyday life at Hailsham, offers depth and dimension to lives otherwise reduced to their biological utility. The illusion of freedom. At Hailsham, the children are taught art, literature, and ethics. They are encouraged to express themselves creatively, leading them to believe that they are special. However, this nurturing environment is a facade, a means of preparing them emotionally and psychologically for their grim future. Even the guardians, such as Miss Emily and Madam, seem conflicted about the morality of the system they serve. Their attempt to treat the clones humanely does not change the outcome of their lives. It only softens the brutality with which it is delivered. The idea of possibles, the speculation that a clone may find the original person they were modeled on, offers a brief illusion of identity beyond their role. Kathy and her peers hope that by finding their possibles or by proving their love, they might delay their donations. These hopes are ultimately dashed, reinforcing the powerlessness of their situation. Their dreams are always tightly circumscribed by invisible boundaries: love, jealousy, and regret. At the emotional core of Never Let Me Go lies the complex triangle between Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth. Ruth's jealousy and manipulations, Tommy's emotional outbursts, and Kathy's stoic patience paint a deeply human portrait of flawed relationships. The delayed romance between Kathy and Tommy is all the more tragic because it comes too late. When they finally come together, their time is already running out. Ruth's eventual apology and effort to reunite them is a moving acknowledgement of the damage done by fear and insecurity. Her own fate, having already begun her donations, serves as a stark reminder of the relentless march toward death. Through these relationships, Ishiguro explores the universal themes of missed opportunities and the aching desire for redemption. Ethical and societal implications. Though the novel does not dwell heavily on the mechanics of cloning or politics, its ethical implications are chilling. The society depicted in Never Let Me Go has normalized the existence and exploitation of clones. The indifference of the world outside Hailsham, barely glimpsed but strongly felt, highlights how easily moral blindness can take root. By avoiding graphic depictions of horror and instead focusing on the emotional lives of the characters, Ishiguro forces the reader to confront the banality of evil. The art created by the children, we later learn, was collected in the hope of proving that clones have souls. Yet this gesture is ultimately futile. Society is not interested in the inner lives of clones, only in the organs they can provide. The attempt to humanize them comes too late, and is powerless against the system's utilitarian logic. Style and tone. Ishiguro's prose is marked by its restraint and elegance. Kathy's voice is calm, even when describing events of great emotional weight. The tone is conversational and reflective, drawing the reader into her world gradually. This subdued style heightens the emotional impact, because the horrors are never sensationalized, they feel all the more real. The author masterfully builds a sense of foreboding. From the beginning, there is an eerie undercurrent to Kathy's narration, a feeling that something is not quite right. Hailsham, for all its pastoral beauty, feels like a gilded cage. The truth of the children's future is hinted at long before it is confirmed, and when it finally is, it lands with devastating weight. Perhaps the most heart-wrenching aspect of Never Let Me Go is the way the characters accept their fate. There is no rebellion, no dramatic escape. Kathy, Tommy, and Ruth live and die within the system, with only minor acts of personal defiance. Some critics have argued this passivity is implausible, but Ishiguro uses it to explore a deeper philosophical truth, that people often internalize the roles society assigns them, even when unjust. Their acceptance is not without pain. It is laced with quiet despair, longing, and a yearning for meaning. The tragedy lies not in loud protest, but in the soft sigh of resignation. In a way, Never Let Me Go is not just a dystopian novel, it is a meditation on mortality itself. The clones' accelerated lifespans mirror our own inevitable decline. Their struggle to find purpose and love in the face of certain death reflects our universal human condition. Conclusion. Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go is a profoundly moving exploration of love, memory, and the quiet dignity of the human spirit. By placing readers inside the mind of a clone, Ishiguro forces us to reflect on the nature of personhood and the systems that define our value. Through Kathy's memories, we see the beauty and fragility of life, even in the most constrained and artificial circumstances. Rather than confronting injustice through revolution, Never Let Me Go challenges us through empathy. It does not shout, but it lingers in the heart and mind, quietly asking, what do we owe to one another as human beings, and at what point does turning away become complicity? In its elegiac prose and haunting themes, Ishiguro's novel stands as a masterwork of modern fiction, both a cautionary tale and a tender elegy for lives unlived.